Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of Starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission, to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilization, to boldly go where no man has gone before.
Greetings, salutations, and welcome to Retrek. I'm Captain Jim, and with me, of course, is Admiral Elliot.
Hi there.
And we've got a bit of an unusual episode this week. If you're listening on the podcast, this is not the episode on the Sherlock Holmes stories that we promised. That's going to come next week because a load of Star Trek news dropped at the First Contact Day. So we're going to spend pretty much the first half of this episode talking about that. And then we're going to look at A Fistful of Data because we're on a bit of a malfunctioning holodeck kick at the minute, so we'll cover that one. But yeah, loads and loads and loads of Star Trek news. We expected there were going to be.
Yeah, but it wasn't just that. Like we got 3 trailers.
Yeah,
we got a picture reveal, but then from the panels we got a load more information as well.
Exactly.
It was just spoiler.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the only thing we didn't get that we were sort of maybe expecting was something from Strange New Worlds. Which, you know, we were saying the other week, like we thought maybe we'd get a little teaser or something. But we didn't, you know, we actually got a Picard teaser, which we weren't expecting at all. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it was...
Maybe Strange New Worlds, could they be saving it for... Are they doing a Star Trek Las Vegas convention this year, later in... Maybe? I don't know. Everything's still up in the air.
The only one that they announced officially was one for 2022 in Chicago.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, maybe they're holding it back for something, or maybe they just thought they'd give us enough goodies this time before we got into it. But yeah, so we're gonna kind of break them down what we've got from the trailers. I'm sure there's loads more that other people have spotted. But
yeah,
we'll do it
like what are we? All this dropped on Monday, and it's Thursday now when we record.
Yeah. So yeah.
The internet's already getting quite busy with speculation from all.
Yeah. So first up then, we actually got a Picard teaser. And it was a teaser, no footage from the actual show, but a bit like they did last year, a specially filmed little segment and a tease, obviously, the big thing that we've all been talking about, we all expected, but we've got actual confirmed proof now that Q is definitely coming back in Picard, which is
not just from the teaser. He was there, wasn't he, and joined in an interview with Patrick Stewart.
Oh yeah, been quite overt about it now, which is great. And yeah, so I liked the way they did it. The reveal, it sort of went to the pack of cards, and we talked about this all the way back when we had the first episode of Picard. The fact that it was queens that they were looking at could have been to do with the Borg Queen, but also
and then you had a Q and
so
5 lights and his heart, and there was all sorts in there.
Exactly, and they've delivered on this one then. So yeah, it's lovely the effect it does where it focuses on the card and then it goes away and it's just the Q. And I thought they were going to leave it at that, but then you actually got the little bit of a voiceover saying the trial never ends and a bit of a Q mischievous laugh. So in terms of everything else in it, before we get into sort of the Q of it all and everything, you mentioned to me, which I'd not picked up on, but I've gone back and looked at it, and you're right. The tablet, the stone tablet that's in the trailer.
Yeah, like I wonder if the sort of like, because like some of these people, like they're getting back, should be big secrets if they could do them. I think the Q one's been leaked, but we had Patrick Stewart let us know Whoopi Goldberg was coming back. It looks like we've got Geordie coming back. I wonder if we're going to get Avery Brooks in here, back as Cisco somehow.
Yeah, I mean, this is because for anybody who's not seen it, there's an image of a broken stone tablet, and it is the tablet from the DS9 episode, The Reckoning, that Cisco smashes, and it releases a prophet and a power wraith, and they possess Jake and Kira, and it's a good episode of DS9. But why has Captain Picard got this tablet on his vineyard?
Yeah.
And the most boring explanation is that this is just a prop that they had lying around and they decided to use it in the trailer. But I can't believe, if that was the case, that nobody said, hang on, people are going to read something into this if we put this in the trailer.
Now, I saw one, and like the only words that were translated was "welcome emissary of this tablet,"
right,
in The Reckoning. And I've seen someone speculating, well, as Picard got it because he's an archaeologist and is good at history. And to me, I think that's a bit. I think there'd be other places that'd get the tablet before Picard, and he's studying retired when he's left Starfleet.
Yeah, unless they're gonna bring in a thing where Picard, when he was retired, went to Voyager and looked at things, but it's just so blatant that they use that. Like, if they wanted to just have a weird artifact in it, they could have had the Kayla Neskos from the chase that his archaeologist friend gives him. If they just wanted something, just put that in. But the fact that this is an artifact from DS9 that's got a really close connection to Cisco, it does make you wonder. And if it is a mistake by the props department, or they've done
I don't think
up, that's very naughty.
I don't think anything there was a mistake.
No,
I think everything. I think everything there is there for a reason, and like we had in the interviews, like they're talking about Picard suffering from a massive trauma, the most traumatic thing he could think. When Q turns up, so is that someone dying or something major's being destroyed or?
Yeah, well, it does make you wonder.
It'd have to affect Picard directly because he says he's personally massively traumatized.
Yeah, I mean, let's look at what he says then, because he says the true final frontier's time. So it's setting us up. Maybe this is going to be a time travel story.
They've hinted at that.
Yeah, I mean, we've done that quite a lot with Discovery recently and things, but yeah. I'll get onto that in a minute, but he talks about, your most impulsive actions and what we wish we'd done and what we wish we'd not done, what could have been. We never get offered second chances. And that really reminds me of the episode Tapestry, which is obviously Q giving Picard a second chance with something that he wishes he'd not done. And I'm like, well, are we going to get the same sort of thing again? But then in the interviews, Patrick Stewart says, we've done 178 episodes of TNG, and this story is like nothing you've ever seen before. So I can't imagine it's going to be more or less a retread of Tapestry. So
no, that wouldn't make sense. I wonder if we've got a bit of a time jump.
It could be.
That because we know that Picard's been made into this sort of golem thing, and I wonder if there's a bit of a time jump in it where sort of maybe 30, 40 years later, he's not aged anything, but he's starting to see all his younger colleagues start dying.
I wonder.
And I wonder if it could be something like that, and he gets a chance to go back and
it could be.
do things a bit.
From what it said, I'm expecting that something goes wrong and Picard gets a chance to put it right. But that is pretty much Tapestry. So, and, you know, you would expect the lesson that he would learn is you shouldn't do that. You should be happy with what you've got, which is the lesson he learns in Tapestry. So, I just don't want it to be a retread of Tapestry, but
want it to be something new.
Yeah, you know, we've done it. It were great. It's one of the best episodes, but yeah, it's interesting. Other things then that sort of came out of the trailer and the interviews, things like you said, Patrick Stewart says that Q arrives at this moment of significant trauma. Now, this is probably me just being a big softie, but I'd quite like this if it isn't a big galaxy-shattering thing that goes wrong. If it's something to do with, like, missed opportunities, so maybe this is where we finally tell the story of Picard and Beverly, and Picard realises I should have been with Beverly and I had these opportunities and it never panned out. Maybe we finally get to tell that story. Obviously, there'll have to be something else going on because you can't just tell a 10-episode romantic story. But
maybe it's somebody really close to him that's died. Possibly it's Riker.
It could be, or here's another idea.
Because he'd retired and he's gone back into Starfleet in his admiral role, and maybe he's been killed somehow, and he's finding that really traumatising. Because they're the sort of things when people are traumatised, it's normally someone very close to you dying. And it says that it's the most traumatic thing you can go through.
Well,
so
here's another one. Something else from Picard's past. His best friend, Jack Crusher, died directly as the result of his actions. And we saw the model of the Stargazer in the trailer. So maybe are we going to tell that story and it's going to be, you know, something to do... Maybe Beverly died in the regular timeline.
We got the Stargazer story, didn't we, in TNG?
Well, we got bits of it, but we never had an out-and-out flashback, and we've never seen the death of Wesley's dad. But yeah, I'd be interested in maybe Beverly dies in the present of the show, and Picard realizes, we never got together, and that's my big regret. And then we could tell a story about the traumatic relationship that they've had, starting with the death of Jack Crusher. Yeah, I don't know. That'd be interesting to see.
We know that we've got quite a few people. There's quite a few people going to be in this, isn't there? Like, we already know we've got Guinan back.
And Guinan back. Maybe we finally find out what the deal is with Guinan and Q.
That's something that I think that if they've got them two back, we should finally. I think they should finally let us know what this is.
Yeah, just a little bit more, just so we can get a bit of a grip on it. That'd be really good. And we also got the release. Well, I say the release date. We've got a release window of 2022, so it's not that narrow.
Yeah, it's not.
But
Well, we have got some actual release dates, haven't we? We know that we've got...
Oh, yeah, we're getting on to that.
But out of all the shows, Picard is the last one that's going to be on air.
Yeah, absolutely. But, yeah, so 2022 at some point. And for anybody watching on the live stream, there we go. We've got the a clip from, a shot from the interview where John Delancey turned up. And they did this pantomime thing, didn't they? It was like, we've got a bit of interference, and He was like, bonjour, mon capitaine, and all that. And he acknowledged, he said, oh, we're going to talk about the fact that Q looks older. So I think it's going to be a thing that he's going to be doing it to take the piss out of Picard. He's going to be like, oh, you're looking older. Well, I've got to look older as well now.
Yeah, I think they'll do that. I think they'll do, because we've seen a lot of it in Hollywood now, and they've got the de-aging technology pretty well nailed down. Yeah. But I don't think they'll do lots of it. I think when he first turns up, we'll get a John Delancey de-aged to look like what we used to seeing, and then he'll taking the piss. He'll just go to what he actually looks like now to sort of match that Picard's got older.
I think that's probably what we're going to do with it. So moving on to Prodigy then. So again, for the people watching on the live stream, there's the new cast shot. We had that shot of everyone else, but now they've expanded it out and put Janeway in the middle. And it's a really cool CGI computer version of Janeway rocking a Voyager uniform.
It looks really accurate to how she did in Voyager.
Yeah, it's great. It's really
like
cool.
I'm used to still seeing Kate Mulgrew on TV, and you see her in Orange Is the New Black, when she plays Red, and you forget how long ago Voyager actually was and how much younger she was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not saying she's not aged well, because she has aged well, but they've really got this CGI nailed down.
But yeah, we're talking a long time ago. And there was a thing, wasn't there, in the interviews where she said, when they showed her it, she was like, well, you've got to make it look less beautiful. Yeah, I didn't look that good and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is, it's very, very modest of her, and, it makes you feel very warm towards her that she's that sort of self-effacing. And I think what came across was how excited she is about the fact that this is going to be a kids show and it's going to bring in a new generation of Trekkies, and how proud she is of Janeway as a role model. And she's like, and I can't wait for new people to experience that. I just thought she genuinely sounded so enthusiastic about it.
She does. She looks like, looks so that she's so up for this series.
Yeah. Definitely.
And like, as we already know, the already doing series 2 has already been greenlit.
Oh yeah. And we didn't get a lot about the story. We got a little bit. Like they said.
I think we got more. I think we got from what they told us. It's actually given us more questions than we had previously.
Definitely. Like we know it's going to be set in the Delta Quadrant. We know it's going to be set in 2383. So it's not long after Voyager finishes. And we know, as we speculated, so we'll claim this one. We speculated Janeway would be a hologram. And
we said this pretty straight away, didn't we?
Yeah, and it's a good thing because we've been doing a series on hologram episodes, so we'd look a little bit stupid if we'd have not got that one right. Yeah. But so it's a training hologram on a Starfleet.
Yeah, she's a command training hologram.
Yeah,
and they found a derelict a derelict Federation ship.
But it's in the Delta Quadrant, and it's after the end of Voyager. So, how does that work?
Well, as far as I'm aware, we only saw a hologram of Janeway once throughout the whole of Voyager, and that was in the episode The Fall.
Can't remember.
Which is a great episode.
Oh, yeah, no, I know which one you mean, yeah.
And I can't think of another time we saw as a hologram. We definitely didn't see, we saw the Doctor become the emergency command hologram. But we never saw anyone else programmed into it. No. So you've got... so I don't know where she's come from with this. And you got to think, it's a Federation ship and she's got to be on it as a hologram. So is it a Delta Flyer or... But they didn't have holosuites.
No, and a Delta Flyer's not going to be big enough to get this whole crew on either, which,
Actually, the Delta Flyer would be big enough for what was shown of the crew here.
I don't know, there's that big rock guy. He looks massive.
Yeah,
But
the Delta Flyer is actually quite a big ship.
It didn't have you're right though, it didn't have a holodeck. So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to tie in. They also said that there is going to be a direct tie to a TOS episode.
No, what they've said is one of these characters that we're seeing.
Yes, sorry.
Is a direct link to TOS.
Yeah, like, or maybe the big rock guy's got something to do with the Horta. Maybe he's like an advanced form of a Horta or something. I don't know. But yeah, so a lot of exciting stuff going on about that.
Yeah, I say they give us a lot, and all it's done is giving us more questions.
Yeah, so right. Couple of things that I really liked is they said, it's a kids show, but it's not going to talk down to kids, and it's going to be trying to inspire kids. So I think it's really, really positive things, and I think hopefully that'll make people who are worried it'd be a bit too kiddified feel a little bit better about it, because you can get shows that are really, really for kids, like Peppa Pig or Teletubbies or whatever. But you also equally can have shows that adults can watch as well and can enjoy as well. And, that's brilliant. And I hope that's the area that we're kind of going for with this.
Like, I fully get what they're doing, that they want a new audience, so they're making a kids show, which hats off to them for doing it.
Yeah.
But the existing audience were Trekkies, and we're going to watch this, so it has to be good enough for us all to want to be into it as well.
Like, I think the fact that with the streaming services and things, you get a lot of animated shows, and they are of very good quality, and they are attracting adults and children. And I think it'd be very foolish to have something that won't have an appeal to the long-term to the adult fans as well. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this one more and more the more we find out about it.
And they've said that they didn't give us a date for Prodigy, but they have said that Prodigy will be on will be here before the end of the year.
Yeah. Which brings us on to the only one that we have got a date for, which is Lower Decks. And what's the 12th of August?
12th of August. I told you the other day when I spoke to you, I've done some maths on this.
Yeah.
Because we've been told Discovery will start in 21.
Yeah.
Not that we'll get all of Discovery in 21, but it will start in 21. So if they run it, that Lower Deck starts August the 12th, as they say. Mm-hmm. We get 10 weeks. If then they do Prodigy, and I'm assuming that'll be 10 episodes as well.
Yeah, I think that's a safe bet.
Because that seems to be what they're doing. So that'll take us till December the 23rd, which means on December the 30th we'll get Discovery. Which is the same as yeah, but that's how it works out.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's what they're going for.
Kind of like how they've been doing with the Doctor Who New Year's Day specials. Like they've been having one on New Year's Day, so they can go, well, there was an episode of Doctor Who on in 2021. Only one. But, so yeah, maybe that's where we're going with it. A few things from Lower Decks, we only got a tiny, tiny snippet. But first of all, the Miranda class ship is back, and that looked really cool. The animation on it,
its registration is, what was it? I'm doing this off my head. I should have written it down. 1883, is it, or 18? It's something like that, and it puts it as only about the 17th or 18th ship after the Reliant. So we're probably looking at a 100-year-old ship here.
Right, that'd be cool, yeah. And then, speaking of things that are over 100 years old, a Magata from the original series pops up. Now,
Yeah.
I like the Magata. Questionable makeup, if you hold it up to 21st century standards, but
Um,
an iconic
yeah, but
Star Trek monster. And yeah, and also there's in the New Frontier books by Peter David, there's a Magata who's actually a Starfleet officer in that. And there's I won't spoil what happens with him, but there's a really good storyline with him. So if you've not checked out the New Frontier novels and you need an excuse, if you want to read up on Magatas before Lower Decks, do yourself a favour with that. We showed the picture a second ago of Mariner, and she's in. Now it's not Parisi Squares, is it? It's the one
no,
that
it's
can't do.
yeah, the ultimate martial art.
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called off the top
It's a
of my
stupid
head.
name, but they hit each other with the batons while they're blindfolded.
Yeah, but Riker's dad cheats, don't they? And
Yeah.
he does a legal manoeuvre or something. So that'll be interesting. Maybe she's fighting Riker there because we know Riker's in it.
Yeah.
Maybe it'll be. Maybe they have to fight for Boimler or something. That'd be quite funny.
Well, we got the clip of Boimler, and Boimler is just out of his depth on the bridge of the Titan.
Definitely. And Riker, he had his little jazz thing at the end of the first season, but now he's taking it to new levels.
He's giving all his orders in jazz.
Yeah, which is brilliant. Boimler's like, what are you on about? So yeah,
I don't understand a word you're saying.
Yeah. So really looking forward to season 2 of Lower Decks. And
yeah, we saw the Packlards were there again.
Oh, were they? I missed them.
Yeah, like I wonder if a lot of that we've been seeing, because we see Mariner later on. She's in the brig, isn't she?
No, that's not too much of a surprise, is it? But
No, but they're there, and the only thing missing is Boimler. I bet he's having a great time. I think that a lot that we're getting shown here is probably from the first, maybe second episode.
Yeah,
because Boimler's going to end up back on the set.
Oh, definitely.
Going to end up back on with them, isn't he?
Yes, he must do. But it'll be fun to have Frakes around for a couple of episodes or whatever it is before Boimler gets.
They haven't got. I don't think they've got Marina, have they?
I don't know. I know she's moved back to the UK, but that doesn't stop you doing voice work. So who knows?
Was it Picard that she said that she isn't in this season?
Maybe.
She might be able to be in Lower Decks because it's voice work, but
yeah,
there's one of them that she's going to be in because of all the COVID restrictions.
It'll probably be Picard because, as I say, I know she's moved back to the UK, so we'll see. And then finally, Discovery, which again I really didn't expect a trailer for. I thought maybe a teaser, if that, because they've only recently started filming, but a fair bit in this one. I imagine.
Yeah, this looks like they've actually done loads of filming for Discovery.
It could all be from one episode, but it gives the feel that we're getting a really good sort of sample of the season, and we get a bit of an idea what the main threat is going to be. And they've talked about this in interviews, the writers and things, saying we wanted something that was a bit more sciencey and not your typical bad guy to fight storyline. We wanted something a bit more esoteric than that. So all we know is there's this huge gravitational anomaly, and we see some nifty effects where the crew's getting bumped around and things like that.
There's a shot where the shuttle bay's upside down.
Yeah.
From the trailer. And they're sort of stood on the roof, so... and then it looked like a cargo hold or another room that had been smashed up. And there again, they stood at funny angles in it.
Yeah.
As if it's... So gravity's not working properly.
Yeah, so... And this thing's 5 light years across, and...
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, it's enormous. I mean,
that's literally Earth. That's literally us to our nearest star across, which is...
So, yeah, it's going to be... I mean, it's interesting. I don't know... how are they going to do a full season with this thing? I don't know. Or maybe that's not going to be the full season, but
yeah, it's like all we've been shown is a trailer and that, and maybe they're taking a little step back from whole season long.
So yeah, it could be a
story
few
acts, or there could be a few different things going on.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there'll be. Discovery likes to have its ongoing mysteries, so it'll no doubt be, well, we've got to find out who behind it and what it is, and it sort of reminded me a little bit of Voyager in that it's this unknown thing that's turned out and it's huge and we don't know anything about it. And
yeah, I was thinking something like the Nexus as well, but the Nexus wasn't that large.
No. And
at least the Nexus wasn't that large 700, 800 years previous, 900 years.
Yeah. And I wouldn't mind, like, so we've said when we talked about the motion picture, way back in our first episode, that it's a very Star Trek story. It just lacks a little bit in the pacing of it, shall we say.
Yeah.
And I won't mind having another stab at that kind of story. Like, there's this big mysterious thing, and how do we communicate with it? And yeah, I wouldn't mind having another go at that sort of storyline. So I'm interested with that. And what it seems to be prompting as well, obviously we talked about this when we covered Discovery, was that, a big thing is going to be trying to get the Federation back together. And it looks like this might be a bit of a catalyst for that, because it's affecting everybody, not just the Federation. So we need to pull together. And we're seeing even in this trailer, like, it looks like I was going to say the Vulcan ambassador, the Neva ambassador.
Yeah.
Seems to be back in it. A woman who looks like she's half Cardassian. And
she looks half Cardassian, half human. So...
yeah,
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, well, Goldacat got him out. So. But yeah, I'm wondering.
I think there'll be the anomaly, but I think you'll also have the story here where they're getting the Federation back together again.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a catalyst for it. We see Saru in what we must assume are sort of Kelpian kind of robes. But then when it shows that shot of him joining hands with Michael at the end, it looks like he's also in a captain's uniform. Or
at least a command uniform.
Yeah, because that brings us on to the new uniforms, which we said this again at the end. I think we called this one. We said maybe we're going to get brand new uniforms next season. And it looks like they've listened to us, and we have.
Yeah, now a lot of people don't. I think these look very reminiscent of TNG dress uniforms because they look a lot long. They look like they're sort of a lot longer.
They're also not a million miles away from the classic movie era uniforms. I know they were all red. But they're having a little sash thing on the collar,
but isn't it nice to finally get back to like red, yellow, and blue, and
yes, I really like.
And it looks like medical is in white, which I'm quite fine with medical being in white.
Yeah, they'd introduced that in Discovery anyway, hadn't they? So
yeah,
but yeah, it's really good. The only weird thing is going to be, because this show's going to be running side by side or, around the same time as Strange New Worlds. So new viewers might be a little bit confused as to why the colours have changed. You'll be watching Discovery where red's command and then flipping over to Strange New Worlds where
gold
is. Yeah, so who knows? But anyway. So that's...
in one of the interviews, they had the costume designer on.
Yeah.
And she held her hands up, and because we got the reveal of the new uniform at the end of Discovery Season 3, and it was that light blue, almost grey with a sort of colour stripe in it. And she held her hands up and went, when we started using it for filming, it contrasted too much with the scenery of Discovery sets, so we needed to change it, which is fine. You've held your hands up. Like, I hope there's a little explanation of why they've changed colour.
Yeah, I mean, we've never had it before. Like in DS9, they just changed to the grey top from the coloured tops.
Yeah.
And, I mean, yeah, maybe. But I'm happy with it. I think these look miles better. I wasn't keen on the grey style.
No, I'm so happy because, like, with this uniform, like, we had... Like we said in season 1, when you had the blue and gold, the blue uniforms with the gold on or silver, that it looked like a progression from Enterprise, which made sense. But we needed to get to that of the original series, which wasn't far away. Which we did get with the Enterprise, and Discovery hadn't got the new uniforms yet.
Yeah.
But it's nice that they're finally getting to... Yeah, this is what we used to our Star Trek officers wearing.
Exactly.
This is what we've had since 1966.
Exactly, yeah. They look like a proper Star Trek crew now, so...
Yeah.
So, yeah, loads of exciting stuff coming up. We'll leave it there and let us know what you thought about all this stuff. If you've got any theories, we'd love to hear it. And hopefully we'll find out a little bit more in the weeks and months to come before we actually get to... We've actually got a date to aim for now. We know August at the latest. You never know. They might surprise us, but definitely by August 12th, we're going to have new Star Trek again, which we didn't think we were going to get this year. So... This is brilliant.
It was all sort of up and down, and it looks like before the end of the year, we'll have 3 shows that will have aired or be in the process of airing, which is really exciting that they managed to pull that off.
Especially considering, all the restrictions and everything. Yeah. So, bit of a flashback then now, carrying on with our theme of holograms and holosuites going wrong. This is A Fistful of Data from season 6 of TNG.
I'll be back in 15 seconds. I've just got something for this episode.
Okay, that'll be interesting. So while Elliot's getting that then, what I find interesting about Fistful of Data is if we were calling it like a Friends episode, this would be the Cowboy one. And TNG isn't the only sci-fi show to just randomly decide to do a cowboy episode. There's obviously the Red Dwarf episode, Gunman of the Apocalypse, which this really feels like it's drawn from a similar stream. Or what do you draw things from? Yeah, definite similarities there, but
well, perhaps someone was remembering what Star Trek was actually sold to the studio as originally.
Yeah, Wagon Train to the Stars.
Wagon Train to the Stars.
You know what? I don't have a problem with TV shows every so often going, you know what? Let's do a cowboy episode. And
I love westerns, so
yeah, exactly. But it's not the Old West, it's the Ancient West in this episode. I like that they dropped that. It's like a couple of extra 100 years. It's not going to be the Old West, it's going to be...
It's now the Ancient West.
The Ancient West. And this episode starts off pretty much the same as the Sherlock Holmes one did. Because it's like, well, we've got a rendezvous, we're too early for it this time. Oh, they're running late this time.
Yeah.
So got some downtime. So you know what that means? Time for someone to prat about in the holodeck and for it to all go wrong. But before that, Picard...
and we have mentioned how often this happens when they have downtime and someone goes to the holodeck, that something goes wrong. Surely there should be a protocol. You're on downtime. Okay, go enjoy your holodeck programs, but we've got to check in on you every half hour to make sure that no no one's stuck or no one's been killed yet, or
Yeah.
things aren't messing up in a massive way.
We definitely need some improvement on these holodecks because this is getting silly, But yeah, so Picard's trying to play his flute, and it's quite a funny scene that everyone keeps interrupting him. So first it's Geordie and Data.
Well, this gets me, Georgian Data, and it's fair enough what they want to do, and it makes and you can see the sense of it because of Data's processing power, that it can keep the primary systems running in an emergency if the computers go down. But then Geordie says, and we might be able to keep some secondary systems going as well, such as weapons and sensors. So what are the...
Well, I presume...
I'm trying to think...
Life support, warp engines, must be gravity, artificial gravity.
Life support and gravity.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'd have thought weapons and sensors would be primary systems on the...
Pretty important, you'd think, yeah. So they pop in, and then he tries to get back to his flute, and Beverly comes in. And there's quite a cool bit where she's like, do you want to be in my play? And he's like, I ain't got time. So, no, you're not going to be at lead of it. And he's, even though he don't want to be in play, he still looks annoyed that he's not
Yeah, he's sort of... Yeah, he looks pissed off, doesn't he, that he's just getting a bit part.
Exactly.
Which I think is quite funny.
Riker seems to have monopolised the lead role. See, whenever we see Beverly's rehearsals, it always seems to be Riker who's getting the big role.
Yeah.
And then finally, Worf turns up, and he's got this plan, like, I want to do all these drills. And no, you can't do that, because we've got new people coming, so you can wait for that. All right, then, well, I want to do this instead. And
is your reason why you're trying to find extra work for yourself?
Like, no.
But this transpires that he's actually been a pretty shit father here.
Definitely, yeah. Because he's told Alexander that he probably won't be able to get the time off, but he'll ask Captain Picard.
Yeah.
So Alexander thinks he's going to Picard and going, please, can I have some time off to spend with my son?
Time off to go.
He's going.
Instead, he's asking Picard for more work, so he hasn't got to spend time with his son.
No, it's no wonder Alexander don't turn out that well, really, when this is Worf's attitude. And anyway, Worf has to go on the holodeck, so they end up going onto the holodeck. It's the Wild West, and it's your basic sort of Wild West story. There's no big twists or anything apart from the malfunctions. But meanwhile, Data and Geordie, they have this weird thing where they talk about Geordie growing a beard, which I noticed LeVar Burton seemed to be rocking a bit of it. I think, if I remember rightly, he was filming something else at the same time that he needed a beard.
It must have been because in the next episode, he's got even more. There's another mention of the beards.
Yeah, exactly, and
they played poker, and Beverly bets Georgie and Riker and Worf's there on this hand as a side bet that they all shave the beards off.
Yeah, now, I noticed this episode. Like, Worf's beard is amazing. Like, the bottom bit's brilliant, and he's got the two big bits of the tash, but the middle of his lip is totally bald. It's impressive facial hair on Worf. But yeah, so they feel the need to call out the beard. That's probably because of the syndicated thing, isn't it? Like, if people tune in and Geordie's got a bit of a beard and he didn't have we're going to have to acknowledge it, otherwise people will be like, it's all right, we understand that men can grow beards. It's fine. While Geordie's working on Data, he plugs this thing into him, and he's got all his LED. I was thinking about you and your LEDs with it. But I bet you could make something that'd do that. The same sort of color sequence, flashing and everything. But
that's what my workbench looks like at the moment with all the circuits.
There you go. So now this is something that I've probably mentioned this on a previous episode, but it's a weird thing that I often think about is why doesn't Data have Wi-Fi? Like, why do you need to stick this whacking great thing? And obviously the answer is, even back in the 90s, we couldn't imagine that we'd have computers that can just talk to each other without having to be wired together.
Yeah,
You know, it just wouldn't have...
I'm trying to think it'd be like Next Gen ended in 94, and I don't think it was till sort of the mid to late 90s that we got WAP, let alone Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just one of that.
It's strange that this is set like, what, 400 years in the future?
Yeah.
And yet we've got technology now that that the writers hadn't thought of.
Yeah, exactly.
Having the show.
There's loads of times like where they get locked up that if Data could have just Wi-Fi'd into the computer, they'd have been fine. But
yeah.
No, you have to stick this whacking great thing into him. Then on the holodeck, then there's a few things Worf ain't too impressed about. The fact that Barclay's put prostitutes in it.
Yeah.
For Alexander.
Yeah, well, he asks Alexander, doesn't he? He goes, "Did you write this program all by yourself?" He goes, "Well, Lieutenant Barclay helped me.
Exactly.
I'll be having words with Lieutenant Barclay."
As well, you don't want all your son getting all Barclay's mucky stuff that he puts in his holodeck. You know what I mean? And then I know, I bet this holodeck program. You know how on the streaming sites now, like when they show things like Gone with the Wind, you get a card that says, this film was made at a certain time and the attitudes shown in it are representative of them. This holodeck program must have one of them because the Mexican guy is the most stereotypical. It might as well be Gonzalez, this guy, like...
Yeah.
Oh, hombre! It's just... But that is... If this is meant to be a program that is recreating Western films rather than Western reality, then that is spot on.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'd imagine it's recreating a Western movie.
Yeah, and yeah, I just reckon it'd have one of them warnings. But then we also get another similarity to the Sherlock Holmes things is Worf. They go, right, you've got to take that guy out. So Worf, bang, he knocks him out. And Alexander's like, no, you meant to play properly. That's kind of like Data when he solved it.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing. It's just Data's using his brain and Worf's using his brawn.
Yeah, and Alexander just goes, increase difficulty level to level 4.
Yeah, and Worf likes it even more once he actually gets a good fight out of them. So, yeah, he's starting to get into it. And then Troy comes in. She makes the save with the sharpshooting and everything.
I've got my Troy.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, for anyone listening on
because I'm a geek, it's still in its box. I've never played with it.
Action figure of Troy as Durango. So, does that action figure, Elliot, come with the cigarillo that she's smoking?
It doesn't, no.
Because I was amazed at that. Like, I mean, now you don't see people smoking on telly ever, but
very rarely. You see it if they're doing period stuff.
Yes, we've been watching Peaky Blinders and they all smoke in that. But to have a character, even though it's on a holodeck, so it's probably not a real cig, on a show that was broadcast, daily at tea time usually, when it was in syndication, you won't get that now. There'd be absolutely no chance.
There'd be hell on, wouldn't there, if you did that in it nowadays?
Especially because this is one of our heroes doing it. This is you can maybe get away with a bad guy smoking, but having one of the guys do it.
Like, I think Marina's brilliant in this episode, how she plays Django.
She clearly is absolutely loving it in this episode.
Yeah. Like she says as a character that she's right into cowboys, but you can actually tell that her herself, she is really, really enjoying this
Oh, she's
episode.
loving it. I mean, as we've said before, like we've made fun of the horrible bunny outfit that they made Marina Sirtis wear for the majority of the series. So it must have been great to get rid of that horrible thing and get to wear all cowboy gear. And yeah, must have been great fun. I bet this was one of them episodes where the rest of the cast, apart from, Marina Sirtis, Michael Dorn, and Brent Spiner, I bet the rest of the cast were really annoyed, that they didn't get to go and play cowboys.
Yeah.
It'll be one of them, like, can't you make it a Riker episode, so that I can get...
Can't you have me going to save them?
Yeah, exactly. But instead, Riker gets to rehearse a play with Beverly, and that's all he really does. But in the programme, then, Worf's got this love interest that he's not keen on at all. That's sort of the kind of running through the episode, isn't it? Like, you get it now and again, and it pops up and everything. And obviously, there's a
Miss Annie.
There's a payoff to it at the end. Yeah, Miss Annie, and I like that. Councillor Troy's almost trying to matchmake them. She's sort of like, oh, "Come on, Worf. You got to be nice."
No, you've got to play your part.
Yeah, and in the real world, then Picard's music's all over the shop. Beverly's plays Data's poetry, and there's that silly bit where Riker starts reading it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm reading."
And he just carries on reading it as if it's the lines of the play. Well, this is what's written down.
It's like, you mustn't. But then he goes, "Oh, I recognise it as Data's poetry." So, did you think that Beverly were plagiarising Data's poetry for a play? Like, what do you think was going on, Will? But anyway, and all of this is indicative of the fact that what they're trying to do with Data has gone wrong, and effectively we're getting Data's bleeding into the holodeck, the holodeck's bleeding into Data.
Data's bleeding into the library files, isn't it?
Yeah, which is informing the holodeck and everything, and it ends up with Alexander gets kidnapped, but he says, "I'm not meant to get kidnapped yet." It's like, so he knows what the story is. Surely it'd be more fun to play if you don't know what the story is.
Well, I think that Barclay's helped him write the story.
Right.
So he does know what the story is.
So it's
it's basically to spend time with Worf, with his dad.
But then he gets himself
who has blatantly proved at the beginning of this episode that he doesn't want to spend time with his son.
Well, this is the thing, and if Alexander has written this story this way, it's sad, really, because he's writing a story where his dad has to rescue him, and presumably because he wants to feel like his dad actually cares about him. It is sad, and poor Alexander. Anyway,
well, he did, didn't he? Because Worf wasn't even aware of him till he was 4 or 5 years old.
Well, technically,
then he sent him off to
2, but it looks. Wow. The Alexander growth rate is a really funny one, but then he sent him away.
But then he sent him off to Worf's parents. Yeah. Then every time he's on the ship, he's trying to palm him off to Councillor Troy or someone else to take care of him.
Yeah. Then he just disappears after the end of TNG, and we don't see him again until he's in the Klingon army in DS9.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not the greatest dad. Then, so the point of that scene where he gets kidnapped is that Data's now the villain. And so this is the first time we see Data. And Brent Spiner's loving it as well, getting to play
Brent Spiner plays... Well, he plays... How many different characters?
Oh, by the end of it, loads.
Not including Data, he plays another 5 or 6 characters.
Yeah, he does. And yeah, you can always tell whenever he gets to play someone other than Data that because he's having to be that restrained and everything with Data all the time, you can see he's enjoying letting himself go a little. And
this is a lot like it's a lot like Leonard Nimoy. Leonard Nimoy used to really enjoy episodes of the original series where Spock lost his inhibitions and
definitely.
that because he could use emotion and let out.
Yeah, and it's good to see like the actors enjoying themselves this much. Michael Dorn does well to keep a straight face through all of it. You know, 'cause he's still got to play Worf, the straight man, throughout the whole episode.
Yeah.
And as it develops, then Data, he's the son in the cell as well, and he's doing his fast shuffling and everything. And they realise that what they've got to do is play the game, basically. They've got to play it to the end, and then it'll turn off because they can't turn it off otherwise. But the danger element is that, surprise, surprise, the holodeck safeties are not working. Which, again, you really need to look at them, guys. It's happening quite often, isn't it?
It happens every time they have a layover.
Yeah, it does, in fact, yeah. And you get a nice, funny scene with Data in the real world where, first of all, he tells Spot to vamoose, but then he starts talking more and more cowboy, and he ends up walking out of the lounge like John Wayne. And he speaks the thing
Spins his strike order.
Yeah, it's brilliant. And you get they don't really play it up, but it is in there because you get Worf's got to go meet the baddie in 2 hours. Meanwhile, in the real world, it's going to take Geordi 2 hours to fix everything. So it's not like it's going to get fixed before Worf has to go to this showdown. So it can't get out.
Yeah, it's all going to get fixed around the same time.
Yeah, so he's got to go do this showdown, and it's going to be against a baddie, but the baddie's got the skill of Data, and he's got the speed and the strength. So they're trying
He's got the speed and the accuracy of an android.
Yeah.
Like, that was a funny line from Troy. She goes, he's going to have the speed and the accuracy of an android. Wouldn't it make more sense for her to say he's got the speed and accuracy of Data?
You'd have thought so, yeah. Yeah. Because, yeah, I mean, not all androids. Like, you had that big one, Lurch off the Rook in the original series. He wasn't very fast.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it would have made more sense, but there you go. You get quite a cool thing where Worf uses the comm badge and he makes a little shield, and it feels like it's a bit of a nod to A Fistful of Dollars, you know, where Clint Eastwood famously does the bulletproof vest thing, which,
yeah,
Back to the Future, it's referenced in that as well. So this is kind of the Star Trek spin-off.
Yeah. I'm quite happy with that because it is called A Fistful of Data, so...
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's a good one. And Worf does a right bit of sharpshooting here. It's a shame he don't do that when Ferengis try and take over the ship. Oh, you know. I
think here it shows why he is the chief of security, because he is bloody good at shooting.
He is, but he just never does it when it's needed. Maybe they need to give Worf a 6-shooter instead of a phaser. He needs a holster and a 6-shooter, and then he'd be absolutely fine.
Yeah, I imagine a 6-shooter is probably a bit more comfortable in to shoot than a phaser. I always thought the phasers in Next Generation looked a bit clunky and all that for firing at people.
They look like hand vacuum cleaners, how they used to look in the 80s. That's what the phaser looked, particularly in season 1 of TNG, they do. So anyway, everything gets fixed. The good guys win, but Worf has to get his reward from Miss Annie, who is now Data. Well, and that's they played for laughs. And again, Brent Spiner's having an absolute ball with this.
He is.
But Worf's very, very awkward, doesn't like it. But luckily, the program ends in time for him. So, makes you wonder, surely nothing too graphic were going to happen. Surely Alexander wouldn't write a program where his dad gets his end away at the end of the story, you know that?
Well, Barclay has been helping with this story, and he has put prostitutes.
Yeah, There you go.
in
Happy
it. So
birthday, Dad. That's not going to traumatise Alexander, is it? Thanks for that, Bat. But Worf says he'd be up for playing again at some point in the future, so that's nice.
yeah, like Worf's enjoyed playing the sheriff, and because it's about he's in charge of law and order, he quite likes that role.
Spoilers, unless he does it when we're not looking, he don't do this again. He spends more time playing on the Alamo with O'Brien and Bashir than he does with Alexander. But
that's obviously where he got his love for being in Cowboy.
There you go, that's it. Yeah, that's it. And it's cool at the end where he puts the hat on and he sort of does his finger gun and everything. It's nice, like I said earlier, that he keeps the straight man thing all the way through, but then just right at the end he lets his hair down.
Lets it go and he's happy about. But like you have the little captain's log at the end, don't you? That everything's back to normal on the ship. Geordie's fixed the problem with Data. But there's no mention of the holodeck problems. Like, I can't remember how many holodecks the Enterprise had, but it had more than one. It had numerous holodecks. So, you've got to assume that every single program that was running, Data is in as overwritten characters.
Yeah, that's
and holodeck safeties have been off. So somebody must have, even if they just had somebody must have been properly injured at some point on one of these holodecks.
So. Yeah, like if someone were there, they were in a boxing program, and all of a sudden it's Data, it just belts.
Yeah.
You. Or maybe someone who was in one of the muckier programs, and it turns into Data, and that could have ended up being Saw. So, you know, it don't bear thinking about really, but yeah, you're absolutely right. And then we get a cool, and again, they do this in Red Dwarf as well, but where you get the ship flying off into the sunset sort of thing at the end. And the music's got a little bit of a Western tinge to it, which is really nice. So
it's nice. It's nice when they take the time and the effort just to do them little things, because that didn't happen a lot. That didn't happen a lot back in TNG days.
No, it didn't.
You get the normal title, normal outrow title, and you wouldn't get alterations.
You just get a stock shot of the Enterprise, and it says Executive Rick Berman, and that's your lot. Yeah. So no, really nice little touch. Yeah, good fun episode. So going forward, then this is going to be a bit weird, because if you're listening on the podcast, we've got our episode. Next week's episode is going to be the Sherlock Holmes episode. So we're looking at Elementary New Data and Shipping a Ball.
But if you're watching it live or on YouTube, that went out last week.
That went out last week, yeah. Because we wanted to get all the news to you. So we're a bit all over the place in the schedule. But what we're moving on to, we are going to carry on focusing on Janeway, Voyager, holograms, holodecks, all that sort of stuff. We're going to be doing that for half of us episodes until we get to Lower Deck.
Star Trek.
But we've also decided finally to get stuck into Deep Space Nine, and we're going to look at the Dominion War. So that's going to be loads of fun. And, you know, we won't get that done by August. This is going to be an ongoing thing that we're going to...
Yeah, we're going to do a real deep dive into the Dominion War. So even episodes sort of slightly related.
Yeah.
So like we're going right back to Captive Pursuit to start, which
we'll talk about it next time, but it doesn't directly link to the Dominion War, but we think there's enough in it that it's worth talking about.
Yeah.
So that's what we'll be doing next time. If you want to get in touch with us in the meantime, we're at RetrekPod on Twitter. You can email us, retrekpod@gmail.com. You can check out the videos on YouTube. You can watch us live on Twitch, whatever you want to do. And thanks for trekking with us this time, and we will see you next time on the Retrek.
Thank you. Bye-bye.